So this thing's this 0 means I'm in neutral. So right now, so to get this thing to turn on in the sequence of which you should turn it on, wait about 5 seconds to hear a little click, and then you can turn the main. This is like a main power switch off and on. This is just like the main electric kill. It's an electronic kill switch, that's what it is. So you push this thing on, you power up the car. Then, when you push the ignition switch down, you power up the rest of the components you're going to need to run the car. But main power. So if you get out there and something happens, you just want to turn the car. If you want to just, when you come into the pits, you want to turn the car off, you use the ignition switch. You normally would. That's how you turn a car off with the ignition switch. If you come in and something's really going on and something's, you're afraid for some reason, hit the main power switch. That kills power throughout the whole car. Especially if you smell something burning or some kind of fire situation or anything going like that, hit the main power. If it's just a normal everyday, turn it off like you would, just like you would to a normal car. Okay, so now what's happening is I'm scrolling through here, I'm looking at, battery wipers. Engine temperature 26. You guys understand Celsius?
Not really.
Nobody does. I don't know why this dash is still in C. So what I should do is just put this stuff into F.
I know when it gets to 100, it's too slow.
Yeah, but when you're out there and like, okay, it's 98. What? That's kind of cold. Wait, I mean, so as we scroll through here, oil pressure, fuel pressure again, gearbox oil temperature. This is fuel. Has to do with fuel numbers. You're not going to be using these. Fuel level. Now, the original. This is not the original fuel tank. I say this had a plastic fuel tank in it originally, but had a fuel level gauge in it. They put this $19,000 thing in there. If you guys, are you guys going to be racing this thing?
Racing, no. We just do Chin and Henry. That's our thing.
Okay. Then really, that tank is of a lot of complexity and absolutely no use for you at all. That's something you might have to look at. Through the years, I probably took about 20 of these tanks, the original plastic tanks out, and we put the racing tanks in. And I've got a whole fleet of them upstairs. For you guys, I mean, this has a rubber fuel cell in it. When that rubber fuel cell goes bad, and it will go bad, it's like Portland. And you don't really need that. And with the other fuel tank in it, you actually have fuel level gauge. So now you don't have to worry about, you don't have to do pump ins and pump outs and all this other crap. So in racing, we need that. You guys don't need it at all. But for right now, you're fine. I can talk about that. Okay, so fuel level, brake bias. This one's crazy important. You guys have everything. You need it. Okay.
You said it, wherever it was you liked it,
yeah.
that's the car like it.
No.
That's what I'm just telling you. What
brake bias is one of the most driver retrievable aspects of the entire car, and this car has it. You guys ever get in here and press this brake pedal? Pretty impressive. Goes about this far and it's hard to quit. It does that forever. Every car you're driving, I'm sure it starts off long and this long. So, there we go. So brake bias, I have some more that front rear brake bias. This number right here is a brake bias position indicator. So when I turn this knob right here, I don't know what they got done here, but they've locked it in.
Yeah,
Completely ridiculous. Wow. That's the first crazy thing I've seen so far on this car. But anyways, that's brake bias. Don't know what that is. I'll have to see what. It's just some abbreviation. I can see what that is. Okay, and back to engine temperature, oil temperature.
GPS because he doesn't have the beacon, maybe.
Perfect. It does look like GPS. Great, because we don't want beacons. Practice page. Same thing again. It's brake balance, engine temperature, oil pressure, fuel pressure. Volts. That's a good one to know because when this thing's running every morning, it's great just to come through here and look at your charging voltages. These cars have a little problem eating alternators. Don't know what it is. Probably just because the alternator, it's just right on the engine. There's lots of vibration, lots of heat there. But that is the one spare you guys are going to keep with you because that will end the weekend. And that'll be a spare. And it's a cheap spare. log, balance, okay. Then we go down to the third page. So you got 3 pages, and each page has different information you can scroll through. Fuel pressure again, oil pressure, throttle percent. That's good. Battery voltage, gear sense. Okay, this has, I'm gonna have to see how this system's set up, but whenever you have a system, you know, you either have a mechanical shifting system or you have some kind of an electro-pneumatic system, it's gonna rely on voltages and pressures now. So these paddles are gonna send an electric signal, and then there's a sensor on the gearbox that's creating the voltage, and these voltages are talking to each other, and it knows what's going on. And it's pretty fail-safe, but we'll have to figure out what are the weak links and what's the common spare we should have for the Hollinger system. Okay, so back to the simplicity of this thing. Engine temperature, oil temperature, we see, we should put that into F. Oil pressure, fuel pressure. So right now, got the car on, flicked the ignition down. This is, instead of a key, there's a push button. So I'm gonna crank this thing over and we're gonna watch and see what kind of oil pressure we get. I'm looking at a neutral here, so I'm just gonna crank over. Okay, so we're getting oil pressure right away, and that's in bar. So 1.3, 14.7 pounds per bar. So we got plenty of oil pressure. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the fuel pumps and check the fuel links. So you see right now fuel pressure is at 0. This controls your fuel system here. It has 3 positions. In the middle, it's completely off. It will not flow fuel for any reason. When I turn it into the up position, I'm turning the pumps on mechanically. Now, if I'm out there and something happens and the engine, let's just say there's a fire, and the engine turns off, the fuel pumps are going to continue running. When you have the fuel pumps in down position, the control unit controls the fuel pumps. So if the engine stops to turn over for any reason, it turns off the fuel pumps immediately. Now in the morning when we're starting this thing, and this thing's, I always like to start them in the morning with the fuel pumps in the on position to make sure we got good fuel pressure. So then what we're going to want to do is do a physical check on the car to make sure we have no fuel leaks. Because now we've got lots and lots of fuel lines on this car that weren't here originally. So you just get up here and you got 2 fuel pumps. You got one fuel pump is main, and the other fuel pump is reserve. And there's a switch in there that controls between the 2. This is a great system because it's redundant. Let's just say your main fuel pump fails, you can run on reserve. Inside the fuel tank, there's 4 little pumps. And if you open this up and you put your ear down in there, you can hear there's 4 little fuel pumps, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're filling up a central tank inside this tank. And then each of these main pumps draws off that tank. So it's got a lot of surge protection. Even when you're down to 1 gallon, this thing is not going to have any problems. Then I like to get into the rear of the car and just make sure, again, no fuel leaks. And, you know, here's your fuel filter, here's your fuel line. This is your fuel pressure sensor right here. This line is very common for it to leak for whatever reason. So you need to be careful there. Real careful here. We did change that into later model cars, and I think that's something I'm going to have you do. We saw too many fires with that coupler.
So just get rid of the coupler?
Yeah, there's a different type of coupler we can use. It's fine right now, but going down the road, when you say, hey, I want to do some preventative maintenance, boy, anything you can do to prevent any type of fire is probably like the best preventative maintenance you can do. That's it. We check the wire level. We crank for oil pressure. We cannot check the oil level in this car until it's warm and idle. Just can't. So that's why it's really critical that you never leave the engine in a situation where it might be low on oil, because you really can't even figure it out until the thing gets hot. But if you crank this thing and you get oil pressure, even if you were to start it and the thing would be 4 slow, you're not going to hurt you. Now, you wouldn't want to go out on the track. I would suggest you never go out on the track until you prove to yourself that the thing has the proper level of oil. Boy, the consequences are high on that one, and I've seen people do it. They get in the car, they're all excited. They took it to some shop. Some shop did the best that they could. Somebody didn't do it well enough. So you crank it up in the morning, you got your oil pressure, you let it get hot, but you didn't quite have enough oil in it. Now you're on the banks of Daytona, and you're pulling G's, and all the oil's being pulled away from the oil pump. Remember, in an oil system, it only takes a tenth of a second for this thing to, the oil pump sucks a little air. It throws an air right through the whole system, and then boom, log drain touches. That's it. It's really pretty simple at this point. Now I'm just gonna, no fuel leaks, got oil pressure. Now I'm just gonna, now the car dips right in here. Okay, so now the car will start right up. I'm gonna go ahead and put the fuel pump to the down position. Now the computer's controlling it. You don't have to pump this thing or do anything like that. Every once in a while when it's really, really cold, you might just crack the throttle, just a touch. But right now in this condition, this thing should just start right up by itself and kind of idle.